Recording. Okay. Recording test. Take three. Let's check how will the settings be good or bad when you record the programming. Yes, yes, my English is very bad, and I'm trying to improve by speaking and communicating here. I need to think a lot for speaking a sentence. Now let's get started anyway. Okay, this is the code. I will just explain fast what I have done till now, and then we move on to the next one. Here is a Spring Boot app, and this is a pom.xml file. We are using Spring Web MVC, Spring Validation, Spring JPA, Data JPA, DevTools, Postgres driver, and these are the test packages. I'm using Java 25. You can use anything uh, from Java 17, 21, or 25. Always use the LTS version, and I'm using Spring 4.x version. It can be anything. The exact is, I think I recommend using anything about 3.5 and newer. And this is the user. User has an ID, and the ID is of type identity and long, and it is a name. Thing has a name. The user has a name, and username and password. And I did not add constraints to the username because I was just setting up the project. The username should always be unique. So just use underneath column and unique as true. And if you want the size to be between 8 and maximum size of 64, you can use it as a constraint. Of course, you should always when user is sending his details for first time that is creating his account. Yeah, username should not be blank and password should not be blank. Cache should not be empty. So and also be not null, not blank, and not null, and not empty. Just take these three and paste it in the password too, and we can change the tweak if the user does not obey the minimum size requirements. Then you can write a message and use it and write something you want. Uh, User name should be between 8 and 64, something like this. And these are the getters and setters. Of course, if you want, you can print a uh, toasting method too. You just need to use control and return key. If you are on Mac and using IntelliJ IDE, just click it. And yes, of course, we got a toasting method for this class. Now let's go to the REST controller. This is the REST controller where you will uh, take the request and send the response. This is to get users, and I just have created some dummy users here. And of course, this will be a particular user with ID, user ID. If the user is 10, you will input this data and send it response. Otherwise, this, of course, this is just dummy data. I could have used database and create a real user and encode the password using bcrypt or Argon 2 with different hashing methods, I guess, and uses salt and I change the details. That is for the later video. For now, this is just a test, and let's create something else. Let's got post mapping, and the post will be a user, and you return a response entity of type map, and map takes a string and an object as key and values. Or the method will be create user, and it will be the the root URL. So the data will be compressed with request body, and request body will be have a user, and user will be an object user. If we want to validate the incoming data, we can just uh, use the annotation at valid, and the Spring Boot itself takes care of the request data. Once the user is here, then you create a response object, and once you create the response object, use the response object to put the data as name will be user dot get name, and now use this for the username with user dot get username. Another response object dot put now. Of course, you use true if the user is successfully created, otherwise not. And the response dot put will be URL that we actually use. It will be slash API slash v1 slash users, and the last one will be response object dot put, and it will be status. It will be HTTP status dot created. Created will be 201, if I remember correctly. And let's return the response object. It will be response entity. User status as HTTP dot created. Once it's created, now we should build the body using the builder method, and it takes the response object and does its work. And we have completed the post. Let's just start the application now. Good thing. And the application is successfully started. You can see the Tomcat server started at the port 8080, and let's just check it. You can use an HTTP client. As in Bruno, you can use Postman, curl, or inbuilt something you already have. This global is unnecessary. Let's go in here and go for this. Get user, and is correct. Now make it 11. It is false. Now let's post something here, and let's go to the header auth. Go, there is no auth, and users will be nothing, and this will be username and password, of course. And I should just use a name. The name will be say Johnny Patty, and it will be John dot Pat, like expat. The password will be KB KKK 69 420 at the rate. So, poop. I think this is more than enough. And let's get going. And we got an error stating 404 and it's not found. I don't know what happened. But let's take it again. And error, I think the resource is not available or not. I am not understanding it. Oh, yeah, but thank you. I think the problem was just adding the slash, it changing the URL to something, and it will go in check like this and replace, so it's actually not. That is, the created is 201. I remember it correctly, and it took 9 seconds for the response. Of course, if it is having a DB and checking, the user already existed. with the same username, and it tells the service layer if it is already exists, then the user need to create a new layer, otherwise not. New username not layer, and it is 110 bytes length. I think this is more than enough for this tutorial, and I will see you in the next video explaining the put, patch, and delete methods along with some custom queries using the repository layer. Thanks for watching. See you again. Subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. You will get good placement. Thank you.